Welcome to our deep dive today into the world of high sensitivity, mental health, and how personal experiences kind of get passed down through generations.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at excerpts from Ajana's writings to understand her unique perspective, which is really rooted in her journey with her late mother. Well, it's clear that Ajana's mother was a really extraordinary woman. Ajana describes her as highly sensitive clairvoyant, meaning she believed she could perceive things beyond the normal senses, and incredibly artistic. Even describes her mother's artwork as being infused with an almost otherworldly energy.
And there's this driving force behind her creativity as well. You know, Ajana emphasizes how committed she was to making the world a better place, a true advocate for human integrity.
Absolutely. But sadly, her heightened sensitivity also led to some real struggles, particularly within the mental health system, starting way back in the late 1950s.
Oh, wow. So you have to think about the context of mental health back then. It was a drastically different landscape. And I think what we now recognize as high sensitivity was often completely misinterpreted, leading to misdiagnosis and often even mistreatment.
And tragically, that's exactly what happened to Ajana's mother. Instead of receiving support and understanding, she was subjected to experimental treatments with psychotropic drugs.
It's heartbreaking when you read Ajana's account of how these drugs intended to help her mother actually seemed to suppress her true essence, leading to depression, delusions, and chronic pain.
Ajana even talks about a specific incident where her mother, in a drug-induced state, was actually restrained and isolated, deepening her trauma and further alienating her from her true self.
And that really raises the question, how much has really changed? How often are highly sensitive individuals still misunderstood and mislabeled within systems that are supposed to be offering care and support?
That's a really sobering thought. And you can only imagine the impact all of this had on Ajana growing up, witnessing her mother's struggles.
It's almost like a generational echo, wouldn't you say? Ajana herself is highly sensitive, and she deeply resonated with her mother's experiences.
Yeah, it's like a shared understanding woven into their very beings. And this profound connection fueled Ajana's own journey of seeking answers.
It did. She dives into psychology, explores alternative healing modalities, like Bach flower remedies, which use flower essences to address emotional imbalances, and ultimately uncovers this fascinating connection between consciousness and energy.
Okay, so what does she believe about this connection between consciousness and energy?
Well, she describes consciousness as this vast interconnected field, and each individual as a unique point of energy within that field. She believes that disharmony in our energy can manifest as physical or emotional distress, while aligning with our true energy can lead to self-healing.
So it's not just about treating symptoms, it's about addressing the root cause, this energetic imbalance.
That's right.
That's pretty revolutionary for the time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shift from viewing illness as something to be eradicated to understanding it as a message, a call for realignment.
And this realignment, this connection with one's true self, is a core theme in Ajana's work, right?
Yes, and it all comes full circle during the 6 years Ajana spent caring for her mother before her death. She describes it as the most interesting time of her life.
Wow, that's interesting considering the circumstances.
It is, isn't it?
What made those years so profound for her?
Well, shortly before her passing, Ajana's mother revealed a secret that she'd held close for years, and this revelation completely transformed Ajana's understanding of her life's purpose and her unique bond with her mother.
Okay, I have to know. What was this life-altering secret?
Ajana's mother shared that she had a near-death experience before Ajana was even born. During this experience, she saw Ajana and was told she had to return to life.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, you know, right?
To think their destinies were intertwined even before Ajana's birth?
Yeah, and this revelation answered a question Ajana had carried for years. The feeling that her life had a purpose beyond herself. A calling she couldn't quite grasp.
Like all the pieces suddenly clicked into place.
Exactly. It's like this knowledge unlocked something within Ajana, propelling her towards her true calling.
So how did this profound revelation shape her path?
It led her to develop unique skills and a deep passion for supporting others, particularly in the realm of end-of-life care and energy healing. From her mother about being sent back to life. It seems to have really ignited a spark in Ajana, pushing her to explore these deeper realms of consciousness and healing.
So it's not just a career path, it's almost like a personal calling, born out of that profound experience.
With our true essence, allowing healing to occur on a physical and emotional level.
I can see how that ties into her belief about consciousness and energy, being so interconnected.
But you know, Ajana doesn't just work with individuals seeking healing or end-of-life support. She also dedicates a significant portion of her work to creating safe spaces for highly sensitive caregivers.
That's right, her writing, Jeden Moment in Ihren Raum, specifically explores this. And considering her experience with her mother, I can only imagine she has a deep understanding of the challenges caregivers face.
Absolutely. In her writing, she really acknowledges that emotional toll of caregiving, especially for those who are highly sensitive and deeply attuned to the needs of others.
But she doesn't just dwell on the difficulties, does she?
Not at all. She offers very practical guidance and simple yet profound techniques to help caregivers navigate these challenges while also maintaining their own well-being.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, one of the most fundamental practices she emphasizes is conscious breathing. She guides caregivers to create a safe space within themselves simply by bringing their attention to their breath and noticing the sensations of each inhale and exhale.
That sounds almost too simple. Can a few deep breaths really make that much of a difference?
You might be surprised. Ajana argues that even a few moments of focused breathing can have a profound impact. She explains that when we consciously breathe, we interrupt the cycle of anxious thoughts and allow our nervous system to settle.
So it's not just about relaxation then. It's about shifting our physiological state and creating a sense of calm from the inside out.
Precisely. And from this place of calm, Ajana suggests we can access a deeper level of awareness and connect with our intuition. She calls it a space for helpful Einfälle, helpful inspirations or insights.
So it's like we're creating fertile ground for solutions to emerge for both the caregiver and the person they're caring for.
Exactly. Ajana believes that when we quiet the mental chatter and tune into our inner wisdom, we open ourselves up to a flow of guidance and creative solutions that might have otherwise remained hidden.
But isn't it hard to trust those intuitive nudges, especially when you're in a high-stakes situation like caregiving?
Ajana addresses that directly. She emphasizes that building trust in our intuition is a process. She encourages caregivers to experiment, to pay attention to those subtle feelings and hunches, and to notice what happens when they act on them.
So it's about building a relationship with their intuition, learning to discern the whispers of our wisdom from all the noise of our fears and doubts.
Beautifully said. And this inner trust is essential for caregivers who are constantly making decisions and navigating complex situations.
It's like having an inner compass to guide us through the ups and downs of caregiving. But caregiving can be so demanding, both physically and emotionally. How does she address the very real risk of burnout?
She approaches self-care from a very unique perspective. It's not just about taking breaks or pampering yourself, though those are important too. For Ajana, self-care is about reconnecting with your core essence, with the activities and passions that light you up and bring you joy.
So it's about remembering who you are beyond the role of caregiver and nurturing those aspects of yourself that might have been neglected.
Exactly. It might involve revisiting a hobby you love, spending time in nature, or simply carving out a few moments for quiet reflection. It's about filling your own cup so you have something to pour from.
I love that analogy. It highlights how self-care isn't selfish. It's actually essential to being a more present and compassionate caregiver.
And it helps to create healthy boundaries, which are crucial in any caregiving situation. When you're attuned to your own needs, you're better equipped to communicate them and create a more balanced dynamic.
So it's not about abandoning the person you're caring for. It's about creating a space where both people can thrive.
Exactly. Ajana's approach is about recognizing the interconnectedness of well-being. When caregivers prioritize their own needs, it creates a ripple effect, benefiting not just themselves, but also those they care for.
It's amazing how she weaves together these seemingly simple practices with such a profound understanding of energy, consciousness, and the importance of self-connection.
Then she goes even further, providing caregivers with very practical tools to manage stress, enhance their connection with the person they're caring for, and create a more harmonious environment.
Amidst the challenges of caregiving,
caregivers can shift their energy and create a more positive and harmonious experience.
So it's about taking a proactive approach rather than simply reacting to whatever comes up.
Precisely. It's about consciously choosing the energy you bring to each moment and using your intention to really shape that caregiving experience.
It's inspiring to see how she combines these practical tools with this deeper understanding of energy and consciousness.
That's what makes her approach so powerful. It's not just about managing those external demands of caregiving. It's about transforming the internal landscape, which then ripples outward to create a more positive experience for everyone involved.
It's holistic, it's empowering, and it recognizes the inherent strength and wisdom within each caregiver. But before we move on to the last part of our deep dive, What stands out to you about Ajana's approach to supporting caregivers?
I think for me, it's the emphasis on simple, accessible practices. You don't need any special training or equipment to benefit from conscious breathing or setting intentions. These are tools that are available to anyone, regardless of their background or beliefs.
And I appreciate how she validates the challenges,
Mm,
especially for highly sensitive individuals, while also offering a path forward, a way to navigate those challenges with grace and resilience.
exactly. It's a message of hope and empowerment. Ajana's work reminds us that even in the midst of difficulty, we have the power to cultivate inner peace, connect with our wisdom, and create a more harmonious experience for ourselves and those we care for.
Well said. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore how Ajana's work extends beyond individual caregivers to create a ripple effect of positive change in the wider world.
Mm.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to zoom out a bit and look at the wider implications of her work.
Yeah, that's a great point. When we look beyond the individual level, it's clear that Ajana's work is kind of challenging us to rethink some pretty deep assumptions about sensitivity, mental health, and even the very nature of caregiving.
It feels like she's pushing for a real paradigm shift.
Absolutely. One of the most significant aspects, I think, of this shift is her insistence that we start to see high sensitivity, not as a disorder to be treated, but as a valuable trait.
This is huge.
Yeah.
This is a really big departure from how sensitivity is often viewed, especially within traditional medical models.
Right. Think about how often sensitivity is labeled as a weakness or even pathologized. Ajana flips the script completely, arguing that sensitivity, when understood and nurtured, can actually be an incredible strength.
And she walks the talk. She creates spaces where highly sensitive people can connect and support each other. So she's not just advocating for a change in attitude, she's actively building a more inclusive and supportive world.
Precisely. And this has the potential to create such a ripple effect. Imagine if this acceptance of sensitivity extended beyond those individual spaces and permeated our healthcare systems, our schools, our workplaces.
It's mind-blowing
Yeah.
to consider how different those systems could become.
Right. We might even see a decrease in misdiagnosis and mistreatment, not just of highly sensitive individuals, but of anyone who deviates from what's considered normal.
It really opens up the possibility of embracing human diversity in all its forms. Instead of trying to fit everyone into the same mold, we can start to appreciate the unique gifts and perspectives that each person brings to the table. And her work goes beyond just acceptance, right? She gives us practical tools for navigating the challenges that sensitivity can bring.
Her emphasis on practices like conscious breathing and trusting one's intuition could revolutionize how we approach self-care and mental well-being on a much larger scale.
Imagine if these simple yet powerful tools were integrated into our lives from childhood. We'd be equipping people with the skills to manage stress, regulate their emotions, and cultivate a sense of inner peace from a really young age.
It's such a shift from our current reactive model
Yeah.
of mental health, where we wait until things reach a breaking point before we seek help. Ajana's approach is all about proactively nurturing well-being as an essential part of a fulfilling life.
And these same principles can be applied to caregiving too, right? By empowering caregivers to prioritize their own well-being and tap into those inner resources, we create a more sustainable and compassionate approach to care.
I think that's one of the most powerful takeaways from Ajana's work. This understanding that caring for others starts with caring for ourselves. When we're grounded and balanced, we can show up for others with so much more presence, empathy, and resilience.
And that has implications far beyond those individual relationships. It creates a ripple effect that extends outward, impacting families,
Yeah.
communities, and ultimately society as a whole.
It's like a chain reaction of compassion and understanding. It starts with that individual commitment to self-care, to connecting with one's inner wisdom, and then it spreads outward, touching everyone in its path.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Ajana's world, I'm left with this sense of hope and possibility. Even amidst the challenges of mental health struggles and the complexities of caregiving, there is a path toward healing, growth, and connection.
Her work really does offer us a roadmap for creating a more compassionate and inclusive world. One where sensitivity is embraced, self-care is prioritized, and the power of human connection is harnessed for the well-being of all.
This has been such a rich and insightful deep dive. I encourage you to take Ajana's invitation to take a few moments each day just to breathe, to connect with yourself, and to explore how embracing your own sensitivity might lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
You'll find links to Ajana's writings and other resources in the show notes. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep seeking those sparks of wisdom that illuminate the path toward a more compassionate and connected world.